Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. How you guys doing? How you ladies doing? We're talking about the topic of the passing of Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. Trump pretty much disparaged and mocked uh, Rob Reiner uh, a day after he was murdered. Now, it's a difficult topic to talk about, but we got to get right to the point. Trump is wrong on this one. Um, We're gonna get into the message, guys. So I want to talk about a lot of different things when we cover in this particular story because this was a murder. Their son Nick murdered them, and what Trump did in this particular case is wrong. And I just got to deal with those particular issues, right? We're not here to give excuses for what was said on his page, but I don't think that it's a time for that. Like right now, um, when when Charlie Kirk died, a lot of people was mocking Charlie Kirk's death, and I didn't like that. I didn't like the fact that people were doing that, and I feel that it's inappropriate right now for the post that Trump made, and a lot of people probably want to hear my thoughts. What are my opinions about this particular situation? So I'm just here to tell you straight that it's wrong. That is not what I would have expected. He made it a political thing and disparaged his political views in terms of Rob Reiner's political views. And I think that that was inappropriate because he was murdered. And it didn't need to be said that way. So I want to play this news article here, this news clip actually, and share my thoughts on exactly what's going on. As you come into the stream, be sure to double tap the screen to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. If you're new here, hey, feel free to look around, find out what's going on in Ringo TV Reactions. We do commentary, criticism. We talk about various news reports, news stories, and everything else under the sun. And we give our expert opinion on, what's going on in the world. Hopefully, we can all learn. Now, the way this story goes out, a son uh, was pretty much arrested, and there's a lot of things that are being investigated and involved in this murder. Um, it is alleged that the son stabbed Rob Reiner and his wife to death, slit their throat, or whatever the case is, and it was over some sort of argument that took place. The son apparently had an issue and struggle with drugs. In my last stream, I talked about these particular issues and I tried to make the YouTube community understand a little bit about the nature of people who struggle with drugs. Now, for transparency purposes, for the viewers that are viewing, my mother struggled with drug addictions. And I was born in 77, so you would know my age if you did the math. Her struggle started when I was 6 years old, and it lasted all the way up to when I was about 13. And then she eventually got cleaned up. She didn't go to no rehab. She just got cleaned up. She went to the church, um, got rid of old friends, and she eventually got free. And I was very happy with that. But it was a struggle. Um, the way it works, and if any of you had family that been through these type of struggles, you would understand. Now, I'm not making excuses for Nick, right? If he murdered his parents, then he got to deal with the consequences. It's just that simple. What I try to do is educate the YouTube community about these struggles and these vices because I was there and I saw my mom struggle. I know that the late Reiners pretty much tried their best to get their son on the right path. They most likely try to do the best they can. There's some interviews I gotta react to where the son and the father was on various interviews talking about his struggles. I gotta look into that to know what's going on. Those of you who were born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s, You know about all the sitcoms that Mr. Reiner was on and all his projects, right? A lot of other shows was discovered and birthed from that particular show that he was popular to be on. So to hear Trump disparage the Reiners, primarily Rob Reiner, um, it was extremely inappropriate. Um, and also condolences to the family. I know they have other children, and everybody's grown, and it's just bad, man. It really is bad. I'm looking at a news report and I'm seeing it, and you can't defend Trump on this one. You can't. I know Trump say a lot of things. I know he says a lot of things that a lot of people don't like, but in this particular case, you can't defend this. You have to condemn these acts. This is not right. This is not right. Um, the best thing he could have did is just offer his condolences, be positive, and keep it moving. But it's almost like he mocked his death, you know, and disparaged the man when he was murdered. And think about this, when Charlie Kirk was murdered, people was doing that to Charlie Kirk. I didn't like that. You had a lot of influencers that was mocking Charlie Kirk's death, calling him a racist and various other things, and they were celebrating his death. They thought it was a good thing, and that was wrong. So if it was wrong to mock Charlie Kirk's death, then it should be also wrong to disparage Rob Reiner's death. Or, you know, it, some people may say, well, Trump didn't mock his death. He didn't come flat out and said, well, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. We're going to react to all of that stuff. But let me get back to the point that I was making about my mom. And again, if you're new to the platform, double tap the screen and give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe if you haven't subscribed. When my mom was on drugs, it was a struggle. We had to deal with things in the home being sold, certain nights she don't come home, uh, social services coming to the house. And they only came to the house one time, and that was pretty much to take us out. And luckily for us, our grandmother pretty much took us in. But it was a struggle. We watched as she struggled. Great mother. She was a great mom, took care of the kids. It's just that when she was on her vices and did her thing, she was a whole different person. So I want the viewer to understand that when people are on drugs, right, they didn't expect to be addicts. They didn't expect that they would ruin their life. They took something they weren't supposed to take. It messed them up bad. So I try to make people understand these things so that we don't get to judging and start condemning people without understanding their walk. Now, again, if Nick did what he did, then yes, he's supposed to deal with the consequences. There's no doubt about it. Whether you're a drug addict or whatever, because the parents tried to give him help. At the same time, for every action, there's a reaction. So what we're trying to figure out is what went wrong. What caused this situation to take place? What happened? What made the son do this? We know he struggled with drugs. Was something said that triggered him and sent him over the edge? Because there was an argument. Based on all the reports that's going around, there was some sort of argument, and it led to this. And as I said in my last stream, when someone stab you to death, it's personal. It's not like, oh, I just want you dead. It's a personal issue, which means he could have had a gun. He could have had a gun, pow, pow, they're gone. Easy, 1, 2, 3. But no, he chose to do it dirty by taking a knife. And by him taking that knife and plunging it in his father and his mom, it's a personal murder. This is something that is deep hate, anger, resentment, issues, strife, you name it. And he took that rage out on them. And some may say, well, this was about money. This wasn't about money. It wasn't about money, guys. Again, it is said that the Reiners, or at least Rob Reiner's net worth, was $200 million, probably more. So they had wealth. They had all the resources. They tried to get Nick the help that he needed. For whatever reason, it probably didn't work, because he said that he was on drugs and struggling with drugs, I think somewhere around age 15 all the way up to age 32. That's a long time to be on drugs. That's a long time. In most cases, you're an addict for life. You know what I mean? So the reason for why he did this is still unclear. Um, but I believe it had to do with just rage and a man that is just broken inside, probably suffered with loneliness, abandonment, uh, resented his parents for probably speaking negative of him, making him feel like he's not good enough. And a lot of times, some people can't deal with these things. And again, I'm not making excuses for him. If he did the crime, he got to do the time. He got to suffer the consequences. Because killing your parents is the worst thing you can do. And there's no excuse for that. I could never do that. My mom died of cancer. Um, she ain't died by drugs. She died by cancer. Once she got free from drugs, she got into the church, cleaned up her life, and was very, very good. Lived a great life. She died in her mid 60s due to cancer. When she got diagnosed, it was already too late. She was always having certain health issues, and she couldn't understand what it was, and she didn't really go in to check herself out. And then when she did, the cancer was already done in motion, causing all sorts of damage. And she checked out. It messed up my life because my mom meant everything to me. You know what I mean? Just like I'm pretty sure your mother and your father means a lot to you if you're a good son and daughter, right? But I don't understand what can make a man take out his own parents. That you got to be out of your mind. So was he high? Was he on drugs? Was he hallucinating? Was he angry with them? Did they say something to trigger him? Because based on what I'm hearing, he suffered from a lot of mental health issues. So when you mix mental health issues with drugs, that's a bad mixture. That's a real bad mixture, guys. A lot of people speculating about what's happening. You have people calling this a quote unquote blood sacrifice. Guys, there's no blood sacrifice with how? Stop. That's not what this is about. Because why? Nick is in jail on a $4 million bail. So if he allegedly blood sacrificed his mom and dad, how do he benefit if he's in prison, if he's in jail? He don't benefit. When you deal with blood sacrifices, somebody have to benefit. And it's normally the person that took you out. So if the son is in custody, police custody, there is no blood sacrifice. So be very careful, guys, of what you listen to on social media, because a lot of social media influencers, they don't respect the viewers that are viewing their platforms. When you guys come here, I'm trying to do my best to present the content and have conversations that could both help us understand the story as well as our own personal lives. A lot of you, your mom and your dad might still be alive. Some of you, your parents may have passed on. Condolences to those that have lost their mom and their father. At the same time, we have to understand that a lot of times our enemies be our own family. And even though we're talking about this story with Rob Reiner and we're addressing the situation with Trump, we also must understand how family can hate us as well and plot against us. And sometimes we think family would never resort to doing these things. You never know who in your family would want to take you out for some reason, or they're jealous of you, or whatever the case is. There's a lot of that in families. Most families don't even get along, and it's unfortunate. But what I want to do, guys, is I want to play the news clip so you can hear it. You're going to hear the audio, and then we're going to break it all down and figure out what's going on with this situation, because I wanted to address this, because I'm pretty sure a lot of you see me. I make a lot of Trump videos, and you see me with my hat on and all this other stuff, and I get a lot of hate. At the same time, I have to address this particular issue because the post that was made by Trump, I think it's inappropriate. I think it's inappropriate, and I don't agree with that. And I'm not here to be an echo chamber or trying to excuse what I see and act like, well, he didn't do anything wrong. It's wrong, right? It's not right. It's let's play the tape, guys. And again, if you're new to the channel, be sure to double tap the screen to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you like my commentary, and let's get into this thing.
Hollywood icon Rob Reiner has been taken into custody after both of his parents were found dead in their home last night. CNN's Josh Campbell is in Los Angeles. Josh, I know you've been talking to sources. What are you learning about this arrest?
Yeah, Dana, a significant development in this incident. As you mentioned there, we're told that the son of Robin Michelle Reiner is now in police custody. That according to jail records. Now, he's being held on $4 million bail on a type of felony charge. However, the records do not indicate what that specific charge is, whether that's specifically in connection with this case. We're waiting to actually, confirm that information. I did hear from a law enforcement source last night after we began reporting on these tragic deaths that police were conducting an interview with a family member at that time. Authorities calling this an apparent homicide, which was important because obviously in these types of death cases, authorities will try to assess whether a death was a suicide, whether it was an accident. LAPD saying last night they believed it was an apparent homicide. Now we're still waiting for additional details about what comes next in this case, whether the son is actually cooperating and talking with police. But again, a significant development. Their son now is in jail, Dana.
And here's the thing. So we know that the son has been arrested, right? Do they have the weapon? Do they know for a fact it was him? Did somebody else do the crime? Like, all of these things got to be taken care of because we need to know exactly what's going on. So he's communicating with law enforcement and so on and so forth. $4 million bail. Nobody's bailing him out no time soon. So we're going to see how this all plays out. So let's continue, and we're going to break this thing down. Again, guys, as you come into the stream, be sure to double tap the screen and give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We need your support, guys. So make sure you pretty much thumb the video up, because that's what helps with the algorithm, so that more people can come over here and get this good content. Let's go.
It could not get any more tragic.
Wait a minute. Somebody
Josh,
said,
thank you so much for that reporting. I want to now bring in.
Somebody said he was an adopted son. I don't know that for a fact. I would have to double check and find that out. I don't know that for a fact. If he was, then the story takes a new twist. If he was, I don't know that for a fact. If anybody else can confirm that, be sure to let us know in the chat. Let's go.
Retired FBI Special Supervisory Agent Steve Moore. Steve, thanks for being here. What's your read on this situation?
Well, I think based on what I've heard, that family members are talking, nobody seems to be in the family seems to be wildly shocked about this. So I think we're going to find out more and more. There were indicators that there were problems in the relationship, problems with him. And, I think LAPD is taking it very carefully. They're not treating it like a slam dunk. I see that they're getting a warrant, or they got a warrant to search the home of the victims. And so that, you don't always do that.
Okay, so y'all saying he wasn't adopted. Okay, he wasn't adopted. Wait, first let me see. I can't really see this name. I'll just say 4421. You said not adopted. And then we have Hannah said his son had an addiction problem. Yeah, we're aware of the addiction problem. We talked about that in the last live stream that I did, that he had an addiction problem. That's why I try to share my experiences with my own mother, who struggled with drug addiction, so that people can understand how these vices works and how they can control a person. and they'll lose their mind. Like one minute they'll be this loving family member, and next minute, they'll be in the street like a zombie. I've experienced and seen these things, and thankfully, my mom was able to overcome her drug addiction and get free. Some people don't; they're unable to defeat these demons that they battle. So it's a real nightmare, and I know that the Reiners, being that they had resources, most likely tried to get him the help that he needed. At the same time, more money, more problems. Money amplifies people's habits. So if he struggled with drugs and he's around a wealthy family, there's a chance that he will go and get these drugs and have easy access, and he's able to get whatever he wants, and it's going to get worse. And I believe that's what may have happened. He never got the necessary help, and you can't really force someone to get help. They have to want the help. When my mom was on drugs, as much as we tried to push her into uh, get into rehab and you got to get yourself cleaned up, that didn't work. She had to want to get herself free, and she never been to rehab. She just got off on her own. She got into the church, started, reading the Bible, and next minute she started to remove those friends that she was with, and she got free. And we were very thankful about that, because we were literally expecting her to die at the rate she was going, because she was in the street. She had all these wrong friends. Um, and like I said, she was a great mom, one of the best mothers ever. She was one of those community mothers that took care of everybody's kids. And, when she was on drugs, it was an on and off thing. She even had a job. She was doing home attendant. She would go to work, come home, take care of the family. And then, like, on the weekend, she's on drugs. We don't see her till Monday. And it was a nightmare as a kid, you know? Um, it was a nightmare. And eventually, social services, BCW, had to be called in. And, they took us out the house and they gave us to our grandmother. And we were able to get ourselves together. She, spent a lot of time, just on the wrong path. She battled her demons and she got free. Unfortunately for Nick, even with all the resources that his parents had, was unable to get the necessary help. And I'm not here to condemn him because of his drug addiction. If there's anything that we hold him accountable for, it's the fact that he murdered his parents. I'm not here to beat you up because of your addiction. That's why I try to talk about these issues, because if you haven't been in those shoes or been around relatives or family members that struggled with drugs, you won't understand. And I see there's a lot of people that they be mocking people that are on these vices. It's not a time to be mocking people. That's evil, to be mocking somebody that is on a drug and they're struggling. They're literally battling demons. And people tend to laugh at them because you figure you're not on drugs, you're good. There's a lot of people, man, they go through a lot. They start drinking alcohol. Next minute, you're an alcoholic. You don't even know what happened. It could have been happening because of stress, anxiety, depression, and you just let yourself go. And there's a lot of people that do that. Some people had a great paying job, just bought a house. You're trying to maintain, and then you lose your job, and now you're unable to maintain everything you built. You start having nightmares. You start losing your mind. People get to drinking, and around this season, Christmas time, it's the worst time ever. This is the time where people start unaliving themselves and crashing out. So again, if you're new to the platform, double tap the screen and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Let's get back into the content, guys. And welcome to anybody that is new. If you subscribe, welcome to Ringo TV Reactions. We're talking about the topic of Donald Trump made a post that is inappropriate. And I wanted to address this on my platform because I know a lot of times you have people that are Trump supporters. You might have Team MAGA. You might have people that are pro Make America Great Again. And sometimes you see stuff like this and you are in a position where it's like, okay, I can be a hypocrite and just act like I don't see nothing, or I could be proactive and actually address the situation correctly for the viewer's sake so that they can know, like, okay, Ringo, what are your thoughts on this? Come on now. There's no way you could tell me that this is right. Well, I got to agree with you. It's not right. It is wrong. It is dead wrong. And if anything, in this situation, Trump needs to apologize for this, especially to his family. I think that it's the wrong timing. I think that it should have never been a political issue. Um, even if even if the late Mr. Greiner had his own political views, or even if he had issues with Trump, I don't think that's a time to mock or disparage his name or his political views after he's dead. I think that that's it's unnecessary. But let's get back into the content, guys. Let's do what we got to do. Let's go.
So they are taking it extremely carefully.
As they should. I mean, this is beyond, sensitive, not to mention horrific. I was just told, as you were talking, that the LAPD chief just confirmed that Nick Reiner, the son of Robin Michelle Reiner, was booked on murder charges.
Yeah, that's an important development because we know the chief was just speaking on a separate press conference underway in a domestic terrorism case. But that's the connection that we were waiting there, whether authorities would actually say this was a murder, that type of charge. Obviously, a significant development. It tells you the direction that this investigation is going.
All right.
This was a murder. There's no doubt about it that it was a murder. I just don't like when we have stories like this, ladies and gentlemen, where influencers begin to twist the narrative and kind of change up the story and tell you stuff like, oh, it's a blood sacrifice. And then they get political, talking about, well, Trump this and Democrats, Republican, and they don't focus on the core value of the story. What we want to know is why. What was the motive? Because if you're in police custody and you're in jail on a $4 million bail, then that means it wasn't about money. It wasn't like you were after money. So this was rage. This was a son that was on 100% demon time and decided, I'm taking out my parents. I'm just going to take them out. I'm upset. I'm tired. And I'm just going to do what I got to do. And I don't care if I go to prison. That's what this looked like to me. Because if based on the story, if I can recall when I looked at it, I think they said that they have four kids. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they have 4 kids, right? That are all grown. And the other 3 are most likely the ones that will be beneficiaries of his, estate. And not that people should have that on their mind right now. I mean, you just lost your mother and your father, so you should be mourning the loss. But at the end of the day, what we're looking at is the money trail. Was this motivated by money? Did he want money for drugs? What was the motive? If you murdered your parents, they're dead, you're in police custody, it can't be about money. Unless it was, and the money was distributed to someone else, but then they would be able to find all of that out. I don't think it was about money. I think this is about pure rage and anger that was built up over the years. Because in my last stream that I did, the late Mr. Reiner talked about how he did a show or something along those lines called Being Charlie. I'm not sure if that's the correct name. My apologies if it's wrong. But he did something with his son in terms of some sort of film or whatever, and it had to do with his struggles or his life. And he said that brought him closer to his son and the son closer to his father. And he said he finally understood, the struggles of his son, but he wanted his son to understand what he had to deal with dealing with a son that struggled with addictions. If you don't know or experience these things, ladies and gentlemen, it's a nightmare. So I experienced it as a son watching his mother In the Reiner situation, you have parents looking at their child. So who want to see their child suffer? Because at first I was wondering if the parents ever gave him the support he needed. They said, yeah. They tried everything. They gave him all the support. But for some reason, it didn't catch. Somebody says, I experienced it as a wife. Mm. There's a lot of people that go through these things, and sometimes people are ashamed. They don't want to talk about it. And I get it. I get, for me, the reason why I can open up publicly and talk about these things, because as a content creator, I like to be transparent with my viewers, because a lot of social media influencers, they're not real. A lot of people are fake, and they put on a show, and they're not real. The experiences that I've seen and witnessed with my mom, it allows me to better understand other people's struggle. That's why I try not to judge people that are on drugs and condemn them and do that type of foolishness, because it's sort of like, if you're going through depression, a lot of times people don't understand you. They'll just say it's going to be okay. You don't understand what that person's going through. People that struggle with anxiety, a lot of times you'll look at them and say, hey man, get over it, man. Come on out and come outside. You can't talk to them like that. You don't understand. If a person is struggling with these issues, you have to know how to communicate. You have to know how to communicate, because you might say the wrong thing and it get worse for them. It get worse, and it could be a struggle. Some people are dating people that have depression and anxiety issues. And no matter how much love you try to show, sometimes they don't accept the love. And it could be frustrating. And you'll be like, you know what? I'm done. I can't deal with you no more. That's because you don't understand how to approach people under those circumstances. So when you're dealing with somebody that have struggles with drugs, there's a certain way to approach them. And I'm not saying that the late Reiners didn't know how to address their son. I'm just saying he made his choice. At the end of the day, he's an adult. He made his choice. And unfortunately, he made another bad one. And that's to kill his parents. And it's just one of them things that is just, you don't think about it. You don't think about people killing their own parents. That's crazy. Like, I wish my mom was here right now. Like I said, those of you that might be tuning in, my mom died of cancer. She was a former drug addict from when I was about 6 years old all the way up to about age 13. And, in the Black community during those days, when I tell you 9 out of 10 homes in the Black community, everybody was on drugs. Either your mom, your father, your uncle, your cousin, somebody was on drugs. It was during the crack epidemic. And it affects us all, whether you're rich, poor, it doesn't matter. And if you're rich, the drug addiction is even worse, because you have access to money. You have access, and then you try new drugs. Now, here's the thing, guys. Back in the 80s, I was born in 77, but back in the 80s, during the crack epidemic, these drugs were recreational at parties. So when the adults of that time went to parties, clubs, and so on and so forth, it was a recreational thing. These individuals didn't expect that they were going to be addicts. They didn't know that. It was something that they were able to do, and they had control. These are conversations I had with my mom. When she got free, she taught us about why we should never do these things. While my mom was on drugs, she used to hold my hand and say, don't ever touch this. And then she would go and light up a pipe and smoke crack cocaine right in front of me. And she would tell me, don't ever do this stuff. So I know what I'm talking about. She would teach me that in her beginning days when she got on drugs, she had total control. She would use the drug. She would be able to go to work, come home, and live her normal life like it ain't nothing. And then gradually, little by little, she was losing control. And the sad thing about this is the same guys in the community that I knew growing up, they would sell her drugs. And it was just a real bad time. And she eventually lost her job. We're on welfare, struggling. 2, 3 days she's not home. And that's me dealing with a parent who was struggling like this. So now think about what the Reiners were dealing with a son who, in their opinion, had deep issues and they had money and couldn't solve it. Think about what I'm saying here. The Reiners had money, guys. They had money, resources. They could get him all the help he needed and still was unable to do that. So what does that say about people that are poor who don't have no resources? How do they get the help? You see what I mean? So it's not something that is only affecting poor people. Rich people have kids that are on drugs. A lot of people in middle class, upper class communities, they have sons and daughters that deal with these issues. And what I try to teach the community is don't look down on somebody because they're on drugs. I get it. Some people are not educated. They don't know any better and they might laugh and clown and make jokes. They didn't ask to be like this. They made a bad choice. It messed up their mind. Now they're dealing with mental health issues and then they resort to crime. And unfortunately, you get results like this where they're killing their parents. And we're not excusing Nick. If he did this, he got to deal with the consequences. He got to deal with the consequences. But what I don't want people to do is judge him based on his addiction. If that, you know, pushed him to that line of committing this act, because you got to be in a dark place to take a knife and plunge it in your mother, the one that gave birth to you, and continually stab her and then stab your dad. You have to be sick mentally. You have to be gone to do that. Could any of you picture yourself doing that to your parents? I don't think so. So he had to be out of his mind, you know? But again, guys, if you're new to the platform, be sure to subscribe to the platform if you like my commentary, if you like my content, delivery, and all of that other stuff. And also double tap the screen to give it a thumbs up. We really appreciate your support. So let's get back to the news program, and then we're going to dive deeper into what Trump did. Those of you that watch my platform and you know that I make a lot of Trump videos, you see me with my MAGA hat, and you know a lot of times I get a lot of hate from people. I want to be very serious in this conversation because what I think Trump did here was bad, and I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It was inappropriate. This should have never been posted. It should be removed from social media, and he should issue an apology to the parents. I mean, the family of the Reiners. There should be an apology issued. I think he went too far with this one. This right here, nah, you went too far on this one. But let's get back into the content. Let's go.
Thanks to you both. Really appreciate you giving us the latest on this just horrific investigation. Speaking of horrific, I want to read how the President of the United States responded publicly to this news. Here's what he posted. Quote, "A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away, together with his wife Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. May Rob and Michelle rest in peace." My panel is here now.
We're gonna get to what the panels say, but just after her reading it, it was just uncalled for. Before they talk about it, I want to kind of read it myself and break it down. And my apologies, I don't have all this stuff up on the screen. I'm on the cell phone. I'll be back in the studio to do other content. It's just that I want to go live to talk about these topics. So it says a very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. So at the beginning, it sounds like, okay, he's going to give us something positive. Then he says Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling, but once very talented movie director. See, right there, you're not giving him his accolades. Like, Rob Reiner is responsible for a lot of the shows that we grew up on. A lot of other shows are knockoff shows of his. And to say a tortured and struggling but once talented movie director and comedy star has passed away is very insulting, because he's not but once very talented. He pretty much was a man that was very talented. But you saying but once very talented, like if he's not anymore. So it's like you're just mocking the man, like he had no value, by saying he was tortured and struggling, but once very talented movie director and comedy star has passed away, together with his wife, Michelle. Reportedly, watch this, due to anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome. That was just inappropriate and uncalled for, very insulting, disparaging. It just, because he's saying he passed away together with his wife not due to his son stabbing him, not due to his deranged son stabbing them to death. No, not because of that. Reportedly, due to anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TSD. That was just bad. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness. And with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before, may Rob and Michelle rest in peace. Everything about that was inappropriate, especially after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and how Trump was there to support Erica Kirk during her loss. And Charlie Kirk was mocked by many people. People were celebrating his death. I literally was online defending Charlie Kirk due to everybody that was mocking him, because they were calling him a racist. They were calling him all sorts of negative things. And some of you may not agree with Charlie Kirk. Some of you may agree with him. The point is, if you didn't do your research about him and you're just going off of small snip clips that's on social media, you're never going to know the true Charlie Kirk. But my point is, Trump should know better, but he didn't do better. This post is very, very disappointing. And it's going to have a lot of people that might be Trump supporters, shaking their head like, okay, what do? Like, how do you respond to that? Well, you got to respond with truth. You can't defend nothing with there, because you have some Trump supporters that will sugarcoat what's going on. They will say, oh, he didn't mean it that way. He didn't. No, you got to go right down the middle. He's wrong. He's wrong. He's wrong 100%. Trump is wrong on this point. He's wrong. All right? Somebody says, you sound crazy now about Kurt. Yeah, that's your opinion. Hope you have a blessed life, right? We don't know each other, and I really don't care how you feel. My opinions are my opinions, right? and your opinions are yours. This is what makes America great, is that we can think for ourselves and be free, and I think that's a good thing. And I learned to just be about my business, and you should be about yours. All right. So let's get back into the story here, guys, and find out what the panel has to say about what they read in regards to Trump.
The days of us expecting this president to be a consoler in chief, a uniter in chief, even anything close to that, those are long gone. That ship has long sailed. So the bar is low, like really low. And this is a statement that came in so far below that bar, it's hard to even put words to it.
It's beyond the pale. Any 5-year-old can see that statement and know that's not an appropriate thing to say. You don't have something nice to say. You don't say it as like a rule that.
I disagree with what he said in regards to a 5-year-old. A lot of 5-year-olds are rude and spoiled and say all the wrong things. I think that at that point, he's just taking personal shots at Trump. What we can say is that Trump is wrong on this one, because there was a murder of 2 souls that was, taken from this world by a knife wielding son. And to mock and disparage, the late Mr. Reiner, it doesn't make sense. Again, following the assassination of Charlie Kirk, it don't make sense. We shouldn't hold someone's political views and use that to mock them. Okay, if you are a conservative and someone's a liberal, or you're a Democrat, they're a Republican, just because they have their political views doesn't mean, okay, they passed away, now is a good time to mock their death. It's the wrong time for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no need to do that. Just let them rest in peace, give your condolences, share something positive. I mean, Trump could have said, hey, look, condolences to the Reiner family. The late Mr. Reiner had a lot of things to say in regards to the president and the Trump administration. At the same time, we're not going to take that time to make it about me. What we're going to focus on is our prayers for the family and their loss, and offer something good. But to make it about Trump, it's like he takes the moment and makes it about himself, and he disparaged the man when he's down. I don't like when people do that. They did that to Charlie Kirk, and I didn't like that. I was probably one of the only influencers. I'm sure there was probably many more, but I was probably one of the influencers that was defending Charlie Kirk when everybody was, I guess, crashing out, calling him a racist all day. And I know a lot of black people, when they hear that, the first thing they want to do is they call me sellouts, they call me Sambos, they call me all sorts of weird names. And again, that's their opinion. I really don't care. Their opinions don't pay bills. Their opinions don't mean anything. What matters is the truth. The truth is, a lot of people are brainwashed on social media to believe lies. And this is why knowing the truth is important. Knowing what the story is about is important. If Trump was there to support Erica Kurt during her loss, why he can't show that level of compassion and sympathy for the Reiners in their situation? You even have situations right now with Candace Owens and some other news that is on the front line that I got to talk about those stories as well, in regards to people trying to take her out. Like, there appears to be some sort of plot and plan to try to erase her. So we have to take life a little more serious, guys, in terms of stop the hate. If we're gonna have conversations, we can share our opinions, but we got to do this in a respectful manner. It's like we live in a time where on social media, a lot of times people, they come into the comment section, and it's easy to type and say negative things and insult people and do stuff like that. But if you were in front of people, you wouldn't do that. you would show a little more class about yourself. You wouldn't just be too quick to run off the hill with something negative. And I think that we need to talk about these issues because a lot of families are in this same boat. Now, we're talking about the Trump post that he made. We're talking about the murder of Reiner and his wife Michelle and his son Nick, who is in police custody on a $4 million bail, which he's not going to be bailed out. It's interesting that the family is not surprised by the murder. They're not surprised. So it's almost like this has been an ongoing feud between the mother, the father, and the son. And for it to end like this, it just goes to show, man, something wrong in this world right now. Something is seriously wrong. When people that are wealthy is going through stuff like this too, it's crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Because a lot of times we think when people got money, everything in their life is good. No problems. You don't got to struggle with bills. Money ain't a factor. But it is a factor with other areas. See, money is not everything. You might be rich in the area of money, but are you rich in the area of family? Have you ever thought about that? Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Most people are rich in money, but are they rich in health, rich in family, rich in love? Those areas. A lot of times people are bankrupt and poor in those areas. On the outside, they got a luxury vehicle. They live in $1 million mansion, designer clothes, but no love, no family, no support, bad health. They could be depressed. You got rich people that are depressed. You be wondering, like, why would you be depressed? You're rich. But it's like, it be that way. You said, I am not poor. Well, that's good for you. There might be an area in your life where you are. Again, poor don't necessarily mean lack of money. Poor can be applied to any area of your life. You can have poor health and have money. Your money can't save you. You're rich, but you got cancer. Your money can't save you. You're dying. You see? So you can have all the money and no friends. You can't trust nobody. Nobody loves you. Everybody's trying to get money out of you. That's why a lot of times rich people, they're not too quick to do anything for anyone. They have to really know what they're doing. And I don't blame them because, half of the time people just try to get things out of people. At the same time, when you have resources, you have to know who's who and who is worth your time, if that makes sense. It's like, if I see a homeless person, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm giving them money. I most of the time, like if I see a homeless person, I got to be moved with compassion, and then I do something for them. I don't film it for YouTube. I don't pull out my cell phone, be like, hey guys, I'm feeding the homeless. Look at me. I don't do stuff like that. But if I have a heart and I see some homeless lady or homeless guy, I have to feel that compassion, that warmth in my heart that says, hey, you see that person right there? Give them $50. A lot of people would say, you're dumb. Why would you do that? Why would you give that homeless person $50? You're an idiot. Say what you want, but it made me feel good. It made me feel like I did something. In other words, today, that person is not going without. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like God put me here to make sure that that person is good, you know? And this happened the other day, and it was cold, very, very cold. And I could talk about it. It's not like I'm not looking for any praise of men. I'm not looking for nobody to pat me on my back. So that's not what this is about. But the other day it was very, very cold, and I saw a white lady who was homeless and a black guy. And I think I talked about this one time. They were by Walmart, and they were just sitting by the curb, and I saw them wrapped up with this, like, I don't know what it is, like something to keep them warm. And clearly they were cold. It was freezing outside. It was a cold, cold day in North Carolina. And when I saw them and we drove in, my mind already told me on our way back out, give them something. And We went, we shopped, we did what we was in the store for about 30 minutes. So I didn't think they would be there. But when we came back out, they were there still. And when we drove up, we stopped right in front of them, opened up the window, said, hey, come over here. And they came over. I said, look, give that lady this. And he was like, he was a little confused because I told him to give it to the lady first. And he went and he gave it to her. And then he came back and I said, okay, this is for you. And he was like amazed. He was just looking at me and he was like, wow, man, you're the only one that stopped. And I just felt good. It made me feel good. So the point that I'm trying to make is you have to be moved to do things for people. So if the parents or rich folk or whatever the case is don't do things for people, doesn't mean they're bad. You can't do everything for everybody because a lot of people will misuse your generosity, if that makes sense. Sometimes people take your money and go buy drugs, or they'll take it and go gamble, or they'll take it and do something stupid. And it's like, you just wasted your time. So you got to know how to give and how to support people and how to do things to help others. But it got to be from the heart, not something you film like people on social media do. Put a 1 in the chat if you see people on social media filming themselves feeding the homeless. Put a 1 if you see stuff like that. I don't like content like that. I really don't like that because they're exploiting the homeless person. They're really exploiting them. Now, there are some content creators that, in my opinion, they make good content. I'm not talking about those that do the right thing. There are those that you see them feeding the poor and they got to film themselves. I hate when people do that type of stuff because you're exploiting the homeless. There are content creators that you see them walk around, they hand out money, they do different things. And based on what I'm saying here, I believe there's a YouTuber, I think his name is Damon Darling. I think that's his name. It's a comedian. Um, it was his video that inspired me, actually, to do something for a homeless person, 2 homeless people. It was his video because I saw him in a video and he went out and he was doing things for people, but he did it in a way where it's not like he's exploiting the people. He sincerely from the heart is doing things for people for real. And when he did what he did, I was moved because I was like, wow, that's really cool what you're doing, man. And it's not really for clout. He really want to do these things for people. And I respect that. That I respect. I just don't respect people that exploit the homeless in order to do what they do to make content. Let me see. Ba-ba-da-ba. What we have, somebody said, please check your mods at Ringo. Please check my mods. What do you mean? You said, please check my mods. If there's trolls in the building, I'm not going to sit here arguing with trolls all day. I got way more important things to do than that. People are going to be people, and it is what it is. If a moderator sees somebody out of pocket, then they'll just do what they need to do. Let me see. I'm kind of looking at the comments. What if you film, however, don't post or even record the homeless, just recording the food? There's nothing wrong if you're recording. There's nothing wrong with if you're, let's say, for example, look, if you are an influencer and you're doing content and that's what you love to do, and let's just say you're feeding the poor and you're filming yourself cooking for the poor, there's nothing wrong with that because you're filming, you're doing content, you're showing people of you prepping meals because you're going out to hand out food. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when you see people feeding the poor and they're doing this for content's sake and they're earning revenue. And again, there's nothing wrong with earning money, guys. It's social media. Social media is a business. I'm just looking at it from a moral point of view. If you make content of you cooking food to give to the poor, that's cool. But don't exploit them on the air, filming them. They're homeless people. They don't want their face all over the news and all over the air. And come on, and if you give them, If, let's say, for example, you want to watch this, I have it even better for you. Let's say you film yourself going out there feeding the poor. Don't show their face. Can we agree on that? If you're filming yourself feeding the poor, could you do it without showing their face? Don't show their face. Just keep their privacy so they could have their dignity. Don't shame them in front of the public. That's all I'm saying. Because a lot of times people do that and they want people to pat them on the back. Great job, Ringo. You did an awesome job. You fed 50 people. You're such a good man. And now watch this. I'm getting all the pats on the back. God, he gets nothing. You see what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. So let's get back to the content, guys. Let's go. Oh, and if you're new to the platform, be sure to subscribe. Double tap the screen to give it a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. Let's go.
Are taught. But what it also shows me, and this again, this isn't new information about Donald Trump. He can't resist. He is so addicted to media culture and the Hollywood thing and being a part of that story and playing in that space, that's irresistible to him. So his avenue of pursuit to swim in the stream of something that's already going to get a lot of attention. By the way, he's the president of the United States. He could get attention for anything he wants. And yet he knows like this is a stream he could swim in that will cause attention on him in a way that he thinks scores him some sort of political point with his fans. But it's just gross. I mean, it's just horrible to see that the leader of the free world wants to debase his position enough to just attack these two people who are just, potentially murdered by their son.
And again, I can't disagree with what he's saying. As much as I do content on Trump and I talk about different topics in regards to politics and even what's going on in the world, on this one, I can't disagree because on this one, Trump is wrong. He's wrong. And the thing about it, a lot of these news platforms that are anti-Trump, now they got something to use against him, which is going to be bad. And they're going to highlight this over and over and over and over. Because when somebody passed away, not even passed away, they were murdered. Now is not the time to be dragging them in the mud. It's not the time for that. It would have been a great time for Trump to put out some positive energy. Don't make it a political issue. But to say stuff like, oh, he was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald Trump. We don't need to know that. Even if he had things to say about Trump, there's no need to knock a person when they're already down. He's gone. He's not coming back. And it's crazy, man. Let me see. Somebody said this isn't your conversation, King. Well, if it isn't mine, why are you here viewing? Right? If this isn't my conversation, logically speaking, why would you be here? You shouldn't be here. So you should practice that, right? So you can go ahead and help yourself at the door. So let's get back to the content, guys. Very important video. Let's go.
And look, Rob Reiner was very, very open about his politics, a huge advocate for progressive causes. No question about that. And yet, when Charlie Kirk was murdered, he went on Piers Morgan, and I want you to hear what Rob Reiner said about the murder of Charlie Kirk.
Listen.
I don't care what your political beliefs are. That's not acceptable. That's not a solution to solving problems. And I felt like what his wife said at the service, that the memorial they had, was exactly right. And totally, I believe. I'm Jewish, but I believe in the teachings of Jesus, and I believe in doing to others, and I believe in forgiveness. And what she said to me was beautiful and absolutely, she forgave his assassin, and I think that is admirable.
You know how we are reminded of that comment that Rob Reiner made?
And think about what Rob Reiner said there in regards to the Charlie Kirk situation and how Erica Kirk forgave. He didn't focus on Charlie Kirk's political views and this, that. So why Trump didn't give the late Mr. Reiner the same energy, you know what I mean? Because he didn't condemn Charlie Kirk right there. He didn't do that. And he spoke in a manner that is, decent, without insults and all of that other stuff. So all this does is just fuel fire for people to criticize Trump even more.
Charlie Kirk's executive producer posted it after he learned that Rob Reiner and his wife were dead. And I just want to add that the president posted what I read on his own social media platforms, Truth Social. As far as I could tell, and our team looked into it, most of the comments were not supportive of the president. Many of the comments, I should say, not most, many of the comments were saying, Mr. President, enough. That tells you something.
Yeah, but also to tell you something that the rapid response team and the White House reposted that seconds after President Trump did. I mean, it's not something that they're shying away from. And when you talk to Republicans, and of course, now we've heard at least 2 Republicans come out and slam his remarks, but those were 2 Republicans who were already slamming most of what he was doing these days.
Tom Massey and Marjorie
Taylor Greene. So what usually happens in a situation like this is that everyone will ignore it, and Republicans will ignore it, and they'll say, oh, it's just Trump being Trump. And you'll go and Manu will chase them down on the Hill and say, how can you explain away this horrible thing that he said about a man who was just murdered hours ago? And they'll say, Trump has a lot of opinions about things, and then it'll all get swept under the rug.
And I just want to say, Manu, just come in on this, but, there's so many things that we can comment on or report on or talk about that sometimes we do say, okay, that doesn't rise to the level. Because this is so repugnant in its content, and because Rob Reiner is such a high-profile figure, and because he's president of the United States, and he wasn't answering a question. This is unsolicited. He just decided to post this. We thought it was extremely newsworthy.
Yeah, and there's no defense for it. So it'll be interesting to see if any Republicans can defend it. I've been still searching through social media. I have not seen anyone say really much anything other than the criticism we heard from some prominent Trump critics, now Marjorie Taylor Greene being one of them. But I can expect a lot of them will say, oh, I haven't seen.
Okay. Mac Thugger, whatever your name is, time to go. The people want you gone. So myself. Wait a minute. Did I block myself? Oh boy. I think I blocked myself, ladies and gentlemen. Are we still here? Let me know if we're still here. Mac Thugger might be like, really? You're still getting blocked, Mac Thugger. But could you see me? Because I can't see me. Could you see me? Because I can't see me on the screen. Oh, so you could. My screen is blank. Let me do something real quick. I don't know if this will work, but let me see. Nope, that's not working. It's not working. But you could see me. Okay. I must have did something and I messed up everything because I can't even see myself. But as long as you can see me, we good. I don't need to see me. I can see your chat, right? So, I didn't finish. Did I finish? Oh yeah, I think I did. Let me see. This is weird. I can't see nobody in the chat right now. Let me continue because we were rudely interrupted by the person that was trolling in the chat. So as long as you guys can see me and hear me, that's all that matters.
and I haven't read the post and hope the news cycle moves on like so many other things. And just there's so many things about that post. This is the inability to separate politics from a horrific murder, potential murder here, involving someone who really meant so much to so many people.
That's the thing. Like, the late Reiner meant a lot to a lot of people. Y'all all recall Archie Bunker. Y'all all recall him. You know, we go back to all of those days. It's like Trump turned it into a political issue when we should not be doing that right now. Wrong timing, wrong everything. The whole post is bad. Like, do he really write? Do Trump really post these things, or is somebody else doing these things? Because I don't know. I mean, we know that's his page. Do he literally go up there and just post these things? Because I don't know, man. A lot of times other people work and they post things that maybe he want out there and he don't physically do it himself. Because I remember when there was a situation with Jamie Foxx, when Jamie Foxx, I don't know what happened to him, but he disappeared for a long time. And people were posting on his social media. And I'm like, that's not Jamie Foxx, because he's supposed to be in a hospital somewhere. He's not posting on social media. So you said what? You said, I think he does it himself. Oh, okay. Let me see. I feel that I'm not loved by many. Does that mean I'm not rich in love, in spirit? I'm discouraged. If you feel, here's the thing. When I think you misunderstood what I said earlier. When we talk about being rich, whether you're rich financially, rich in health, rich in love. If you say I feel that I'm not loved by many, does that mean I'm not rich in love? Well, you're answering your own question. If everyone is not showing you love, then you're not rich in love, meaning you're not receiving no love. Nobody loves you. You get what I'm saying? Just like when you're rich in money, you receive money. You receive it. It didn't just appear out of nowhere. You're receiving it. So as you receive money, you're rich. You have an abundant supply. When you're receiving a lot of love from people, you're rich in love because you're receiving a lot of that. Now, if you are a loving individual and you're giving that out, that's a whole different conversation. You know? So when you say I feel that I'm not loved by many, does that mean I'm not rich in love, in spirit, Ringo? I'm discouraged. We're not focusing on the spirit. We're focusing on the physical. Love. Love is an action word. Love does something. So if you're not experiencing a lot of love from people towards you, then you're not rich in love. We're not talking about what you do as a person in terms of your personality, your heart, and what you do for people. Typically, what you put out, you get back. What you sow, you reap. Unfortunately, for a lot of us, we are kind to others, we do good for others, and a lot of times we don't get that reciprocated back to us. And it could be frustrating because sometimes you fall on bad times, you're going through, and it's like you don't have the support, you don't have anything, and you become discouraged. Like you said, you're discouraged. It can be discouraging. And what you need when you're discouraged and down is strength to get you back up. Because when you're discouraged, you're at the bottom. And it's easy to be there. It's easy to wallow in the mud and poor me, you know? And it's a horrible place to be in. But at the same time, you got to love yourself enough to stand back up and say, look, if everybody ain't showing me love, I'm not going to feel bad like I'm poor. I may not be receiving it, but I know I'm a loving person. So it's not something to be discouraged if you're not getting it from a lot of people. A lot of people hold back love. There's a lot of people that know they're supposed to be showing you love, but they don't show you love because they want to see you fall. You know? At Ringo, both parties filled with weirdos and pedophiles. I think it's time that we stop picking sides. I disagree. And the reason why is because everything in today's day is political in terms of politics. Uh, whether you want to talk about both sides, this is where we get all of these laws. This is where these both sides affect the economy. It affect our daily lives. So we cannot say, oh, forget all of this stuff. It doesn't matter. The other month, I believe in November, we had the SNAP crisis where people weren't getting their SNAP benefits and everybody was snapping on social media, losing their minds. Well, all of that is because of the Democrats not following through, doing what they had to do. And it caused a situation where the government was shut down. So now, if we ignore politics, if we ignore Republican, Democrat, and we figure, okay, throw all of that stuff out, we're going to have chaos. So, whether you don't believe in any of this process, you're on a side, whether you believe it or not. You're either a Democrat or you're a Republican. You're on a side. There's no middle ground. There's no middle ground. If we look at your life, look at how you conduct yourself as a man or woman, you're on one of these sides. You can't be on the middle. Well, I'm neither. You're lying to yourself because you are. You are. Right? Let me see. When is enough enough? If we won't stop picking sides for the kids, we are doomed. Well, you can do that in your own neighborhood. Are you doing that as an activist? Are you actively in your community practicing what you preach? Because if you're not doing that and you're just on social media talking, it's falling on deaf ears. You would have to be a person who's actually practicing these things in the real world. You know, if you're not doing those things actively, with the children, putting them on the right path in life. If you're not doing none of those things, you're just singing in the choir at this point. Because there's a lot of people that do that on social media and they're not really doing anything. I think people will pick sides just by the way they act. It's not really about picking sides, guys. It's about knowing what your core values are and what you believe. If Trump is wrong about something, then it doesn't matter what side, you got to hold him accountable. Like in this situation with this message that was put out, he's wrong. So it doesn't matter if you're a Republican, you still got to respond to that and say, wait a minute now. You might be a Trump supporter, but you still got to say, hold up now. This is wrong. So it's not really about picking sides or defending what's wrong. You got to look at the way you live. What are your views for family? Healthcare, this, that, people coming into the country, where we're going with America, all these different things. You got to look at all of this stuff. And I think that a lot of times, most Americans don't look at these things or take these things serious when they're in their 20s or even in their 30s. I think that most Americans that are in their 20s and 30s that might be adults, they really don't take none of this stuff serious. I think once you get into your 40s, 50s, and 60s, that's when everything starts making sense. And you start realizing, like, wait a minute, the whole time when I was in my youth, I was mocking the whole political process and this and that and thinking it's all a joke. And then you start realizing that this is affecting everybody. This is affecting your pension. This is affecting your health care. This is affecting everything in life. And it's not something to be playing with. So you got to look at which party is actually on the line that represent where you're going and understand, what's going on in the world. Most people don't even know what's going on. They just jumping on bandwagons. They don't even know what's happening. He says none of them actually care about us. It's not about if none of them actually care about us. It's about you caring about you. See, you got it all mixed up. You're waiting for somebody else to care about you. That's the problem. That's the problem. We're all adults, right? Okay. So if we're all adults, we got to take care of ourselves, right? All right. Now, of course, we all would want someone to help us from time to time, or we may need some help here and there, but we're still adults. So I'm not looking for President Trump to come on down and say, okay, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do that for you. And you'll never have a problem another day in your life. Then what's the point of the journey and the process on the pursuit to happiness if I didn't have to do anything to get there? And all I had to do was just wait for Trump to do it, you know? So it's not about no one don't care. That's a negative way to look at it. We all care, and that's why we're here. That's why we talk. That's why we have conversations. Everybody that's viewing cares about something. There's something in this world that you care about, and you're willing to fight for it. And you offer your opinions, your criticism, and you stand on it. And nobody could change your mind about your beliefs. You have some patriots that they're patriots to the core. You have some diehard Trump followers that are Trump followers to the core. You know what I mean? There's all different types of people in this world, but we got to all learn how to respect one another to the best of our abilities. I know from time to time it may be difficult because some people don't show you respect. They come and they insult you. I get this all the time on social media, and I try to be a better content creator and ignore the negativity and just focus on doing the content because I understand that with all the people that are viewing me, um, I have to represent myself properly. And there's times when I may not say the right words. There may be times when I might just go off on somebody on live. But lately, I've been cleaning that up, and I haven't been doing that. And I just try to keep it more civilized, more peaceful, because it's better for the platform. Because if someone is being negative and you're fighting negative with negativity, it's going to only produce more flames, more fire. And I don't want that energy on the platform. So I figure if I just be positive, have good, decent conversations, you might have trolls that show up, but I'm not focused on them. I'm just focusing on the delivery of the content because that's why you good people are here. And I appreciate you folks even taking the time to view. You could be doing many other things. You could be watching other people YouTube platforms. So I'm appreciative of people that show up to tune into these platforms and hear me talk about these issues because I like to talk. I like to share my commentary about different issues. And on this particular topic, Trump is wrong. And that's why I'm doing this particular show, because a lot of times people see me do videos about Trump and they be like, oh, he wears a MAGA hat. He supports Trump. He's this. And they condemn me. And they think like if Trump did something out of pocket, I won't address it, or I stay hiding quiet, or I'm afraid to come outside. No, if I see Trump doing something and to me it's out of pocket, I'm going to address it. It doesn't matter because we all have to be held accountable. Nobody's perfect, you know. Um, let me see. Let me see. You say you love to talk. You love to talk. Talk about your masters. See, people like you I just ignore because you're not having a decent conversation. It says the whole world is under a spell of red and blue. Um, break the damn spell, man. Trump doesn't care about anyone. That's my opinion. Well, whether you say that, that's your opinion. You know, um, you're supposed to care about you first and foremost as an American. You're supposed to care about you. You're not supposed to be waiting for everybody else to care. You're supposed to have it in your mind that nobody cares. It's very rare that somebody cares in the world. Now, there are people in the world that are good people. There are people in the world that really do care about other people. It's just very, very little of it. Not everybody knows how to show that kind of love. The world is full of hate right now. There's a lot of haters, a lot of people that just don't like to see nobody do anything. Um, let me see. Let's not be a hypocrite. Well, a hypocrite is someone that pretends to be something they're not. In other words, a hypocrite is a person that says you shouldn't go to the strip club, but they're at the strip club watching women. So if I teach you guys don't go to the strip club, and you catch me in the strip club uh, getting a lap dance, I would be a hypocrite because I'm telling you not to do that, but yet I'm doing that. That's a hypocrite. Um, I hope that answers that. Right? You said you help create the divide. I'm from Earth, a soul having a human experience. Okay. I agree. Some people are animals. Wish it wasn't like that, though. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but we have a lot of people in this world that are just pure evil. Pure evil, guys. A lot of people. And all they want to do is hurt others. Says Trump was way out of line. Yeah, I agree. I can't disagree. You're right. Ron Reiner said some awful things about Trump and his family. Rob wasn't a good person. Here's my take on that. I knew that was going to come up, but my point is whether Rob said some things about him as a president, right? We have to conduct ourselves in a manner that is good for the American people. He took that time in that moment to take personal shots. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, okay, since he's dead, let me go do this. You could have did that when the man was alive. He could have said that when the man was alive. He waited for him to die to disparage his name. I think that's uncalled for. I think that's uncalled for. Even if Rod Reiner said some things that was awful about Trump and his family, whether you believe he was a good person or not. I don't know Rob Reiner. I don't know him personally to know if he's a good person or not. I don't have that information. We don't know if you're a good person or not. Do you see my point? We don't know you. We don't know what your life is like to know whether you're good or bad or whatever the case is. We would hope that you're a good person. We would hope that Rob was a good person, but we don't know. If you don't know somebody, you wouldn't know who they are and what they're about. What we do know is action. So if your actions don't line up with something that's good, then that's something that's bad. Now, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means that what you did right there is bad. There's a lot of people that do bad things, but then they do good things. But in the world we live in, people more focus on the negative things. So if somebody see me do something bad, that'll be the topic of discussion on social media. They won't talk about me helping people. They won't talk about me doing good things in the community with the youth. None of those things matter when people have bad things that you do. They're going to focus on the negative things all the time. Most of you experience this. You do good things for people all the time. You do good things on the job all the time. The minute you do one thing that is looked upon as bad, everybody's talking about it. Everybody's criticizing you. I can't believe you did that. Wow. You messed up the equipment. Wow. You crashed the company vehicle. But for 3 years, you've been driving the company vehicle and never had an accident, never had no tickets, no speeding tickets, no parking issues, nothing. But you had one bad day and they focused the whole month on condemning you. I don't know why that's like that, but people tend to focus on the negative rather than the positive because the negative is more entertaining. It's more, you can sensationalize the story and create new narratives. And a lot of people love drama. But let's get back to the content, guys. If you can be so kind, double tap the screen to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. We really appreciate your support stopping by Ringo TV Reactions. But let's wrap this thing up. We have about a good minute or two left in this news brief.
Regardless of his political views, Trump is just cannot rise above the political moment. It just brings, it's really, in an era where we're not supposed to be shocked, it's shocking.
Which he himself has admitted, by the way, the Erica Kirk moment that Rob Reiner refers to in that video, Donald Trump himself said, I couldn't do that.
Right.
I mean, he immediately acknowledged at that time that her grace that she was providing for all of us, quite frankly, in that moment, that he was like, he had already acknowledged he's incapable.
And if you want to know just one thing quickly, some of President Trump's, and I was surprised by this, some of President Trump's most rabid supporters who are the
And see, here's the thing. I get what you're saying. Somebody said, who's this? Let me see. I can't even see your name, but I'll read your comment. You said Trump. And again, guys, I can't even see you. For some reason, when I was trying to block that other person, I don't know what happened. I moved the screen and it's dark now. I can't even see myself. I can't click nothing like on the screen. It's weird. Y'all say y'all can see me, but I can't see me. I'm pressing the buttons, nothing works. I hope I'm able to log out once the show ends. But let me read that comment. Somebody said, Trump always say things. He was the better vote. That's all that matters. I agree with that. And that's why I think a lot of people should more focus on who you would have voted for. Because in my opinion, Trump would have been the better vote, as this person who posted a comment believes. because I don't know who's voting for the other parties. I don't know who would do that. With all the things Trump did thus far compared to the Biden administration, whatchamacallit, um, it just doesn't make sense for anyone else to deny that he did things that all these other presidents didn't do. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't like him for whatever reason. I get it. You know, you can like who you want to like, dislike who you want to dislike, but I used to be a person that was not supportive of Trump. I used to be that very same person. I used to be like a lot of you. And then I started to look at life and look at the world and look at different things. And that doesn't mean that he's perfect. It doesn't mean that he's going to do everything right, just like you don't do everything right. You know what I mean? A lot of you say things that you shouldn't say. And I'm not excusing him. Again, Trump is wrong for what he did. My point is, I'm trying to bring examples so we can see where we're going, so we can all relate. There's a lot of times we say things that we think we're doing the right thing, and then when people hear it, they're disgusted by what we said. They were like, "That's very inappropriate." Uh, Trump have his reasons for doing that. Somebody came in the live chat and said that the late Mr. Reiner said some ugly things about Trump. Okay, if he said some ugly things about Trump, then Trump may feel like, "Hey, I'm gonna hit back. I'm gonna say something back," and it is what it is. I don't have no control over that. Um, Let me see. Somebody said what? It's a frozen frame due to wonky stream. I don't know. I thought you guys said that you could see me. You know what I mean? So that mean that everybody was lying in the stream. Let me go to my own platform and see what's going on, because I literally asked you guys, can you see me? And everybody said, yeah. Well, if you don't see me moving, then you don't see me. You just see an image. I mean, you guys have to communicate, right? So that mean that, because somebody just said there's a still image on the screen. So if there's a still image on the screen, nobody is seeing it. Nobody's seeing the content. You know. Um, Somebody says we can't see you anymore. Oh boy, I don't know. I can't trust nobody now. I don't see nothing. I see a reverse image. Let me see. I'm seeing I'm seeing a reverse image of my house because I can't see nothing. See, nobody said anything. So I had the camera on reverse the whole time. Again, guys, while you're looking at the stream, I cannot see you on my phone. I can't see you. So you're literally seeing the back part of the house. That's what you're pretty much seeing. And again, listen to me very carefully. Uh you were seeing this. Let me see if it went. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing my setup. Remember, on my cell phone, I can't see you, but I'm on my laptop and I'm able to look and see. Thankfully, the other person who said there's nothing but a still image on the screen, that made me go to my laptop. So now I was able to press the button. Again, on the phone, I can't see it. It's literally black. I can't see nothing on the phone. So now we can see each other now. So thanks to the person who actually gave me some good information, because everybody said, "Oh, we could see you, we could see you," but again, if I can't see what's on my cell phone, you guys have to communicate. You got to be like, "Bro, you must have pressed your button and it's showing the reverse of your house." That way, I would know. Oh, I didn't know because I can't see nothing on the screen, right? So let me see. Ba-ba-da-ba. All right. All right, so y'all can see me now. All right, so it would have been good if y'all actually seen me. Let me see how long ago that was, because that's crazy. I don't know. Yeah, who cares? I think, did we finish that thing yet? It's pretty much done. Let me see.
You know, from last like night who you into this like, morning, dislike who you saying dislike, we didn't agree with anything.
I used to be a person that was not supportive of Trump. I used to be that very same person. I used to be like, oh, that's the video. Said there's nothing but a still image on the screen. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Reiner stood for politically, but this is a horrible thing. And then you still had this response from the president.
Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. I'm gonna pretty much shut down the stream. So that's my take on it. Trump was wrong on this one. I think that he should have just offer his condolences to the family and just keep it moving, not make it a political issue, because he said some things there that didn't sound right. You know, he said Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling, but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife, reportedly due to the anger he caused others. So it's like Trump is saying that he passed away due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome. I think that's just horrible to say. But I shared my take on it, guys. So I'm going to get up on out of here. Appreciate everybody stopping by to the show. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. If you like my content, double tap the screen to give it a thumbs up. We really appreciate you over here. My apologies for the camera issues. For some reason, when I was trying to block that particular troll, the screen went totally black. It's still black right now. I can't see my mirror image to know what's going on. And while pressing the button that changes the camera direction, being that it's black, it's not showing me nothing. So I must have pressed it multiple times, and it went and it showed the back part of the house area. So my apologies for that. And again, thanks to the person who pointed out all I see is a still image on the screen. Once you said that, I knew something had to be wrong because everybody said they could see me. So I don't know. Y'all said y'all was trying to tell me something, but remember, I'm trying to do my show, so maybe I didn't see anybody. So my apologies. So we're gonna get up on out of here, guys. I'm gonna review a video that I seen with the son, Nick Reiner. There's an interview I seen with him, and he looked like he's the type of person that would have done this. We're gonna try to review that video. We'll try to do that possibly in the morning. I got some more videos I got to do tonight, and I'm pretty much going to be up, doing some content and get those videos out there for the morning. So I'm going to cover more of this topic in the morning time. So hey, shout out to everybody that joined the show, everybody that came through. Again, if you like the content and you feel I'm doing a good job, subscribe to the channel, double tap the screen to give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate you. And shout out to all my truckers that are on the road. Everybody that's out there, late night, just doing what they got to do. Appreciate everybody stopping by. If you're a person who are new to the platform and you want to get to know who Ringo TV Reactions is, just feel free to look around. You know what I mean? You can check the video sections of the platform where we upload videos. You can check the live stream section and see what I got cooking. I have a lot of content, a lot of things that I do, and it's multifaceted, and get to know me. Look at my channel introduction to find out, what we're about, and make yourself at home. I know there's a lot of platforms you visit, but we appreciate you stopping by. So all of you have a blessed day. And, we're going to keep you in the loop on what's going on in regards to this particular case. So peace and blessings to everybody. I'm going to sign out. Hopefully I'm able to log off the stream because being that we had these issues, sometimes that don't happen. But I have my laptop here, so I'll be able to know if I logged off. So peace and blessings to the mods, the chat, everybody that, is a member of the platform. And I'll catch you guys in another video. So it is what it is, right? So Peace and blessings. I'm out of here. I'm out of here, guys. Peace. We out.